everybody. Welcome back to That Spiritual Podcast with Marti and I. Today we're going to be talking about ancestors. It is a big topic.
It is, and we'll probably only touch on it because we don't want to sort of diminish anything that you already do or any practices you already do. I think any way you work with your ancestors is amazing.
Yeah.
And obviously I go at it from more of a witchcraft perspective because that adds energy and power into my line. But you do tend to work with your father more directly than all of your ancestors per se.
Yeah, I don't work as backwards in my line. I would love to. I think I've said to you before, it's something I really want to explore, but it's just never really been timing. Yeah, the timing. But I work loads with my dad. So I channel loads for my dad. I wrote a book with my dad because he needed a book written on behalf of himself because he died and he was like, well, I never got to write the book. So can you do it for me now? So I do work with him, but in terms of bringing forward my ancestors, in terms of how you use them, it's quite different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when I work with my ancestors, I call all of them through en masse. It's like party over here.
Yeah.
And very much ask for energy to be created from the line that I was born from. And this goes for everybody. You are created from the love of thousands. And the power and the juice in that is huge. If you can tap into that, just the energy of it, then, you know, you're already working on a different level anyway. But I don't know who it is in my line, but I've got somebody who's very good with herbs. And where I've learned to make those connections, I can pull that information from my mind now, which is very handy when you want to know correspondences. But yeah, so the way I started working with ancestors, obviously my mum died as well. But I'd already been working with my nan and they had a little fight up there about who's going to be the dominant force. That was quite amusing to watch. But my nan had been teaching me from the other side. Yeah. So I made my connections just by sitting in the power. And we do that with mediumship, right? Really straightforward. I sat for 20 minutes a week and just said, if there's anything you want to tell me, now's your time to shine.
Yeah, I'm open to listening.
You know, I'm really here and I'm receptive. And Halloween, Samhain, I honour the ancestors, a bit like Day of the Dead. So, you know, that I make sure I honour. I light a candle for each of them on Halloween and invite them in, sort of make an offering. So I'd done a lot of work with them. And actually, the information started flowing where I felt like, and I might be loony, right? So I'll say that right now, but I felt like my nan could communicate with me, not in like coherent conversation, but in the same way that we communicate with spirit. Yeah. So I could take information. She would show me pictures in my mind's eye, or thoughts would arrive in my head that weren't mine. And she actually started teaching me some of the stuff that she hadn't been able to teach me whilst alive, because she lived in Australia. Yeah. Via, I don't know, death line. What do you call it?
The line of the dead.
And once I realised that, I was like, well, I can access them all then. And you know, why not? And so I did that, but I don't know their names to honour them directly.
Yeah, because you can trace back, can't you, now, like I've said to you before, on the internet thingies, the
ancestry,
ancestry, my heritage, things like that, and you can kind of piece together parts of your family tree, which I think is fascinating.
I think they would probably really appreciate that.
Yeah, like,
you know,
a
just
tiny
thinking
bit of acknowledgement.
Yeah. Thanks so much for caring.
Thanks so much, especially when, like, with the work that you and I both do, Marti, as well, doing the women's work. When you look at kind of like the witch trials and kind of things like that, and injustice for women and women's rights and things like that, when you trace that back in your family line, it's also quite nice to honour that, like where that people have placed themselves in that timeline, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think with anything, it's just linking into something that's already there. And just to make the comparison, when you work as a Reiki master and beyond, you draw energy from your Reiki lineage. Yeah. And so to me, it was no different. I was like, well, if I can do that and I can draw the energy of every Reiki master behind me or above me or whatever you want to call it, then why can't I do it with ancestors? And you do get a big bang for your buck when you work that way.
Well, it's like you're accessing knowledge as well that is just so freely available to you that they're offering, and you're not having to, like the way I talk about when I work with my dad, the stuff that he channels for me, same as my guides really, is so huge and so beneficial for me in the physical world, and it would take me probably a whole year to sit and read and learn that and absorb it, but the way it's channeled is different, that you kind of absorb it differently, don't you?
Yeah, you've got the knowledge straight away.
Yeah.
That you didn't have before.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's like they flicked a switch like in your brain, and it's like access to new, you know, like an advent calendar. It's like opened a new door.
Yeah, you know, we get a lot of downloads across spirituality from you guys, from your ancestors, from any deities you work with.
Yeah,
all of them have the ability to provide a download for you. I'm curious where it comes from. That's my next passion project. Where are the, you know, I obviously understand the ancestors, but just diverting off for a moment. Like, where does all that stuff come from? Who's saying that? So, you know, that's one of my interests at the moment that I'll be hunting information from. But based on this just awareness that, oh, I know what herbs to use. Oh, I know how to make a poultice when I don't.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's the intuition. It's like with my dad with my writing.
It's just a knowing.
It's a knowing. You don't have to do anything or learn it. It's really weird. I can't spell. I'm dyslexic, so I can't spell. Okay. Somehow I have a blog. I write about grief. I wrote a book.
Yeah,
but it's not through my normal human. Like, it's that part of me would really struggle to be able to put onto paper what I want to say.
So do you find you channel?
Yeah, when I channel, it's a whole different thing. It's like I've transformed into a different person completely.
Well, that's great, but that's different to how I work. It just appears as a thought in my head that wasn't there before, or a clear knowing. Where I'm just like, oh, I know the answer now. Like, let's go with this. And obviously with any other work, like higher level work, so, you know, you're talking all around spirit guides, you know, spirit animals that fly, all of that stuff that comes from above, or the other spirit animals are lower. Don't want to start that sort of talk, because people get nervous when you start talking about the lower world. So I'm like, oh, does she mean the underworld?
I
no,
I
don't. That's another place. Don't go there. That sounds like you don't want to go there. She got Persephone. But yeah, like the higher realms have so much knowledge and wisdom, and it's very much gifted to you. There's no gatekeeping up there. You just have to find a clear route in, and the way you do that is not sexy, but by consistent practice.
Well, it's dedication, isn't it?
And that's what I was saying to you. You were like, I love how you work with your ancestors. I'm like, yes, but it took weeks and months and even years of like honoring them. Thanks so much. The same way we talk about, you would go into a room and just assume, or not assume, that everybody would want to work with you.
You've got to build bonds, haven't you?
You've got to build a relationship with those guys. To do that, relationships take time. And I think people miss this in the spiritual realm. They think there's a shortcut. And maybe there is, that I don't know about, but my experience is anybody you want to work with, be it ancestors, spirit guides, or whatever, needs consistent time and energy given to it. So you get to learn how they talk, because it's different. Similar but different. Do you find that, like the way your guides talk to you versus your dad?
Definitely.
You would recognize it's your dad, right, with the words you get, the way they come through. It feels warm. Like, you know, it's very loving energy.
Well, it's closer, isn't it? It feels a lot, you're more, you're open to it because you're connected to it.
So there's a warmth that's attached, and I hadn't realized. I'd never worked with my dad's line. I'm a girl's girl, woman's woman. I work with women. I'm a woman. Here we go. I've obviously called them mum and dad, the powerhouses of women that I knew. And I met online, randomly, one of my dad's cousins, and her grandma was my godmother. It was all very confusing, big family. But the long story short, I was like, oh, that's really nice. Imagine sort of meeting people from his family that I never knew existed. And with that, this wave of love came over me. And I thought, what the hell's that? Genuinely, like, and it was his line. So whereas mine is all powered up and hyped, obviously I am a product of my situation. My dad's line was really chill and just really loving, and it was just warmth. So I'm like, oh, I can now recognize the difference in the lineages by the way I feel when I receive.
How interesting. And it is true when you said about the whole, it takes time and there's no shortcuts. You don't, I understand why people want to rush through it, but then equally there's part of me where I just think, enjoy the process.
I think
like
we're not taught to do that.
To be patient. We want everything now, don't we? We're like snappy humans, like, give it to me now. I want everything within 24 hours, like quick delivery, Amazon Prime. It doesn't work that way. Like whenever you're doing anything, if it's ancestors, if it's witchcraft, if it's mediumship, like whatever it is, you have to put in the work to learn it. And also, my point of view, there needs to be a level of like respect and almost like humble yourself a bit, where you're thinking, actually, I'm coming to you guys in spirit, whether you're my family line, my spirit guides, whatever you may be, angelic realm, whatever, and I'm asking you for knowledge to help me on my path to help the human race, whatever it might be, right? Yeah. I think there needs to be a part of that has respect, right? And that you feel
call it an energy exchange.
Yeah.
So you can't just bowl
in and be like, give me all your knowledge because I'm this special human with these gifts. Like, I just think it's really
a bit rude.
It's rude, and because you want it done quickly. Like, no.
But I understand that, you know, that we're taught that everything is accessible. You just need to go, and it stops us in so many different realms. But it definitely stops us in spirituality, because actually, I know it's so wanky, isn't it, to say? Is that a word I can use on a podcast? It's a bit wanky. But the learning is in the journey.
Yeah.
And so had I not have worked with my mother's line strenuously for a long time and felt the power of that, I wouldn't have recognised the different feeling from the other line.
Exactly.
And now I know who's coming through and what they've got to bring to the table.
Exactly.
Sorry, Dad's line, it's not that useful, but very loving. So there was obviously nobody over there getting burnt or drowned or whatever on the mother's side. But, you know, why not have both?
I think, I agree.
But that's so important. You can't shortcut it. You need to take time. And, you know, if you were going dating, you know, you get some people who speed date and then get married. But 9 times out of 10, you commit a lot of time, months, years, to getting to know one another. How do you work? How do I work? How do we work together? And it's exactly the same with spiritual work.
Getting a degree.
Don't be in a rush.
World. Yeah, you don't need to rush. Enjoy the actual journey and enjoy the learning. It's part of the magic of it, isn't it?
That is the word.
100%. As we're so quick to want to rush through life, and it's such a short time, really. Just enjoy learning it all. Like, you don't need everything now. And also trust in what you're learning at the time. Like I said to you, I'd love to work with my whole ancestral line. I just haven't tapped into it. It's not the right time. So don't stress. Like, if you're like, oh, this sounds really cool, I want to get into my ancestral stuff, but then nothing kind of is happening, just trust that then right now it's not meant to be where you are.
Yeah, we get pushy, don't we? But, you know, you're on a lot of paths simultaneously. And so on the highest calling, the loudest calling, the thing that's most pressing, it's like when your human life is, you know, going through, you're pregnant at the moment. And so that's your highest calling right now. You can't circumvent it and skip around it and go, oh, yes, but. You know, we have to honor exactly where we are. And if that means not now, that's fine. But if you have, or if the listeners at home have a desire to learn and work this way, then do start. Start with once a week or however often you can regularly commit to. Don't set yourself like, I'm going to do it every day. Like, when we make it unattainable, we'll screw it up, because that's the same with anything. You know, don't make it too big, make it doable. So that you've got like 10 minutes a week where you just sit with a candle lit and you just really get into a calm state and you go, right, I'm just here to honor you. Do that for a few weeks. And then from there, like, if there's anything you want to tell me, I'm open and receptive, but then actually hear it. Right. So go back to the intuitive one where you get a thought and you think, oh no, I was thinking that already. They're going to get frustrated as all hell if they're giving you information and you're like, oh, I don't think that was a thing.
You don't shut it down. You've got to trust. Well, there's a lot of trust that's involved, isn't there? It's the same as mediumship when you're bringing people through to other people. You're going to have to trust what you're given.
So notepad and pen, make a
always note. Journal it down. 100%.
Because you'll see patterns emerging that will then reassure you as you go through that you're not making it up. You didn't just think that thought, you know, it was a valid thought, because you're seeing it come through again and again and again. And that is one of the ways that I got to trust my intuition, especially working this way. There were things coming through that I just couldn't possibly have known. Which made it really easy. But there was also a lot of fodder.
Also, some of it can be quite cryptic, where you're like, I don't understand. Why are you showing me a bowl of oranges?
Shall I tell you about the pink rose?
Pink rose.
2 years they did this to me. They'd show me a pink rose. So I get a picture in my mind's eye of a pink rose every time I'm connected.
That's like a pink crow.
I love that you just pink rose. Connect to the earth. Do I need to bring myself, didn't even have Miley Cyrus then, but do we need to bring myself flowers? Is it like self-love? Or, is somebody in need? I'm like, well, and all they meant was sending love.
Literally.
And it was only through noting it down that I was like, they finished most of their connections with the pink rose.
Yeah.
And it just literally meant sending love. And once I thought that, they went, yeah. I was like, you're kidding me. There was any better ways, like a little heart.
Yeah.
Yes. Love. Yeah. There's so many easier ways. Pink rose. What?
I love that. And you tried to like tear it apart and like decipher.
Like I really need to literally using my grounding.
I have a tattoo of a rose.
Confusion.
This means so much to me.
It was just my reminder to myself that, and actually I did genuinely get a tattoo of a pink rose, so that I remember the times that I try and dissect it and make it make sense. Just think of the simplest thing, and then look for the yes or no answer 100%. That we talked about in one of the earlier episodes.
100%. Trust yourself.
What they do, right?
I love that. So yeah, there's so many ways. It's just about taking the time, giving the respect to the fact that you are tapping into energy that is your family lineage, which is hugely, hugely important. And has so much, like Marti said, she learned all about herbs through somebody that's not even in the physical. I don't even know her name. Literally, she's not even in the physical. And that's amazing. So there's so much to be learned in such a different way to the human way.
But just honouring where you come from,
exactly.
And the love that's created through that as well. It's really, really calming.
Yeah, 100%. I'm realising too that, and I always think this, like when, we as humans, we struggle with our mental health and we struggle with so many different things where we can feel quite alone and things like that, especially when you're on a spiritual path, you can feel very like, oh.
Especially when you've got people in spirit.
Literally, exactly. And when you have that kind of moment where you do start to connect with your ancestors, with the people that you've lost, it gives you a huge sense of comfort, doesn't it? Like I often think now, like I don't know all my ancestors at all, but like you said with your female line, I do feel like a weird almost like someone's like they're holding me up, like a group of women, and they're on my family bloodline. I don't know whether they're my dad's side or my mum's side, I don't know anything about them, but I know that they are literally behind me like, go on, keep going, like do it for the girls. And that's quite special, like to know that you don't have to have everyone in the physical showing up for you, because you've always got people in the other world.
And I'm the same, that whole connection. I was very close to my nan, but I'm close to people that I have no idea what they're called, and they provide me with information. But don't get disheartened if it takes time. Just really want to reiterate that.
100%.
I think a lot of people think, working with my ancestors means going and connecting with those who've gone before me. And that's lovely, but you don't necessarily get that. It's not like them coming and sort of going, there we go, darling, let's give you a little stroke. It's okay, mummy's here, or whatever. But it's not like that. It's like, what do you need? What information do you need? And that's how I tend to work, and that's how your dad tends to come through as well. He doesn't. He comes through, bringing love. I get the pink rose. You actually probably get something more coherent. But really and truly, they're there for a purpose. They're not just there to mollycoddle you, and that sounds mean. I know you work with grief. I work with grief, just in case you didn't see that one coming.
She's not
coming to mollycoddle. They're there like, great, we can finally, because you're the representative.
There's a purpose to
you're
it.
You're their Earthside representative, is what I call it.
Yeah.
And they want their sort of legacy to live on.
Yeah.
So they're expecting you to do good things.
And they have almost a job. My dad has said multiple times to different mediums, some mediums that I know and other people that I've had readings and I don't know them. And he's told them every time, like, my job is to be almost like a spokesperson for Phoebe in spirit. He was like, so lots of things want to be channeled towards her in terms of the work she does with grief and female, but I'm like a blocker in between. He was like, so nothing goes forward to Phoebe unless I say okay, and then I often am the one to pass it forward, which it is, because I will receive it best from my dad.
Well, I know somebody else who's had spirit guides, and then when their father went other world side, I don't know how we call it, called Summerland, when their father went to Summerland.
Yeah.
Their father became the lead honcho, head honcho.
Yeah.
And mine won't miss that. My spirit guide's pretty cool.
Yeah, my guide's fine, but what it is we all know
it's all different.
It's different.
Just
Depends on the person.
that.
I'm a massive pussy when it comes to spirit. You all know that. We spoke about it on the podcast multiple times. I'm a psychic medium that is scared of ghosts. So having my dad be the one to give me most of the stuff makes it easier for me. I will willingly hear it because it's my dad. Whereas if it was, just a random person on my bloodline that I hadn't met, or I don't know, something else, I'd be like, I
don't know, I'm too curious for my own good.
There we go.
And I would urge you, despite Phoebe's admission there, to meet it with curiosity. It's your ancestors.
Yeah.
So to go back to that work, there's nothing
to be scared
that
of.
is going to bring you harm.
No.
And all the times that we worry about, like, oh, I feel all right to bring it through, what if I end up with Fred from down the road? When you call directly for your ancestors, and make sure you do that. I mean, be strategic and very coherent about what you're asking for. I'm asking to make a connection with my ancestors, with my lineage, with my line, whatever wording.
Yeah.
And keep it to that, because then you can just meet it with curiosity. What comes up? What do I feel? Look for physical sensations, look for mental thought processes, pictures in your mind's eye, and make notes. Like we say, keeping some kind of
dream journals as well. Dreams, you'll get loads of dreams from your ancestors.
You can ask them to come through.
And remember that me being scared of everything, just as a disclaimer to everybody else, is purely from my trauma of growing up as a psychic medium. And some people might get it if they've had similar to me, other people might not. But like Marti said, there isn't anything you need to be scared of when you bring people forward from your bloodline. It's simply me, where I've been traumatized.
We'll do a podcast on that a separate time, because a lot of people must have spiritual children.
Spiritual children, or their own experiences where they've, I guess, shut down their gifts for
fear and stuff like that. So it is a thing, but if you've got that, you're still okay to work with your ancestors.
You're fine.
Don't be scared there.
You're fine. You're fine. Right. There we go. It was lovely, guys. We shall catch up with you all soon.
Bye.